You found the WMIX Saturday Sports Show on AM 940 and WMIXSports.com. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. The Saturday Sports Show has been recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the top radio programs in the state. That means the very best mix of local sports content is right here. From the powerhouse on Broadway, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
Found it. Here we are, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Glad to be here with you today. Another Saturday morning where we talk sports until 10 o'clock. Busy lineup coming at you today here on WMIX and WMIXSports.com. The Saturday Sports Show, of course, is cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
We'll talk with Mount Vernon Rams head baseball coach Tim Holloway. The Rams are on a bit of a winning streak right now. They won their fourth straight game yesterday in extra innings over the Mater Dei Knights. 6-5. You heard it on WMIX and WMIXSports.com yesterday, and of course, an exciting finish for the Mount Vernon Rams. Their second straight extra inning win of the week. Of course, just 2 games played this week. Weather, of course, wreaked havoc with many games from around the region this entire week. Many teams got in Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday became very difficult with all the precipitation that came into the region.
Not a lot of games. Some people got in games Thursday. They were able to get some stuff done, and then on Friday, you had an opportunity today. There's going to be a lot of people that will get a lot of baseball and softball games in today as far as the weather, and it's going to hold out. Of course, this technically kind of the last day of the regular season for 1A, 2A baseball and softball games, and then, of course, Monday, Tuesday, you'll have a few straggling regular season games and whatnot, but next week starts postseason for 1A, 2A softball.
Of course, we hope you'll stick around. We'll talk about all of that and more today here on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll talk with Lance Bolt. He is a softball coach. Lady Rams had a tough game yesterday on the road at Fairfield. They lost 5-4, but we'll have plenty to talk about today here on your Saturday Sports Show. We're running until 10 o'clock. Busy week coming up for us next week as well, just the way we like it, as we have a multitude of games coming your way. We also talk a lot about some of the postseason pairings we found out this week. Of course, Brett Blondie of the Benton Rangers. We will talk to him, unfortunately, for the Rangers. They were one of the teams the Rams beat in extra innings this week. Joe Bernard, of course, Wayne City Lady Indians softball. Sean Tripp is the Goreville High School baseball coach. We've had him on plenty of times in the past. We'll talk about Clint Turner and the Runnin' Rams, the track team, of course, this week, and their effort at the South 7 Conference last night. Jeffrey Drake is the voice of the Harrisburg Bulldogs on WEBQ Radio, our sister station. We'll talk with him as well, of course, coming up. But you think about kind of prefacing track and field this week. Of course, sectionals having wrapped up, no surprise in the South that Heron Cahokia dominated the 2A meet.
No.
Carterville, a team that you haven't heard a lot about necessarily in the past, really dominated their own meet. Not up here, I mean. Dominate their own meet. They're pretty salty track and field team.
They dominated Black Diamond for many a year back in the day. And then they moved into the river to river. Of course, that kind of helped them competition-wise to see them get back to where they were or are right now. But like you said, not a lot of surprises as far as track and field goes down here as far as all 3 classes, which, by the way, an adjustment needs to be done, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, I know there's quite a few coaches that'll agree with you there, but you take a look at the Runnin' Rams finishing second place in the South 7 Conference, and, if you're wondering why, I think 9 straight second-place finishes, it's tough to get past Cahokia. And you almost feel like if you get second place in a conference, you're pretty well really have the ability to be the conference champ if Cahokia were not around, just because I don't think people understand just how good Cahokia track and field are.
Oh, I think people understand. I just think it's, they've won 10 straight South 7 Boys Championships. Mount Vernon's got second something like 9 straight times, so it's not like Mount Vernon's had no talent or whatever. I mean, Mount Vernon's given them a run, and Clint Turner and guys have given them a chance, an opportunity, and have really put Cahokia to the test over the years. But boy, Cahokia is a state championship quality team each and every year, and they come through the South 7. You get a good gauge of what you're going to have to deal with next week at Heron, and then, of course, a gauge if you get that far to deal with at Charleston. But Cahokia is always in the running of what would be 2 classes for a 2A state title. Now 3 classes, always a 2A state title as well.
Well, no doubt about that. And, of course, also thinking in terms of boys track today, when we talked to Clint Turner a little later on, another impressive feat, of course, out of the Mississippi Valley, and that Triad wins yet another MVC crown yesterday.
That's impressive.
That's a pretty good track program.
Triad, all around. I know they're on the periphery of what we like to cover, like our coverage area is. Our AM signal goes plenty through there, but in that Mississippi Valley, that's not a conference where you can just roll through and whip teams, because you're talking about Waterloo, Civic, Jerseyville, Mascoutah. Those are quality athletic programs, and for them to be able to roll through not only on the boys' side but the girls' side as well. They had a real good meet earlier this week as well at the sectional. So it's not like that this is all easy to do, and especially in track where it's so individual, number one. And then number two, to get the athletes every year, I don't care what size of school you have. Obviously, if you're in the thousands, that's a difference. But at this time of year, with all the distractions, with graduation, with prom, with parties, with school getting out and whatnot, to keep that streak going 13 straight years, that's an amazing accomplishment in itself.
No doubt about that. And, of course, Joe Bernard, Wayne City Lady Indians softball today. They won another regular season championship at the Midland Trail Conference. They will play for a championship in the tournament against Woodlawn on Monday. That's a team looking to make some noise again. Of course, they'll be number one in the Wayne City Regional, too, coming up this next week. That's a team looking to make some noise, get back to another sectional.
That team there, that program right there has got some pretty good little girls going through it athletic-wise, and they've been able to get on a roll from basketball into softball. They're in a hunt for a conference title, conference tournament championship. They're in the hunt, number one seed in the regional at their place again. So an opportunity for them in what looks to be a relatively wide-open field in 1A softball, at least this part of the state.
Of course, talking about that wide open field of 1A softball, one of the teams that made some hay just a few years ago, the Goreville Blackcats. We'll talk about the boys' side. Sean Tripp coming up a little bit. Goreville, a team that went to state just a few years ago. Not quite that type of firepower right now, but I think you see the coaching of Sean Tripp come out and maybe start to see them do some things here in the postseason as well.
Oh, veteran team. They've got some kids that may or may not have played on some of those teams that went to state, but they've been in big games. They've seen big games. They've been around it now as seniors, and I think they're catching fire at the right time. They took a loss yesterday, but they're catching to where they need to go. They're a top seed in their region now. The only problem is second seed Cobden's with them. Of course, Cobden has a kid going to SEMO. That's going to be a matchup there at the end that, on any given day, if Goreville's got the right things going, they could probably knock off Cobden if an opportunity arises.
Well, and then, of course, taking a look at the rest of our lineup, Lance Bolt, Lady Rams softball, we'll talk about their effort this week. They were on top of Fairfield. Fairfield basically came back and won that game yesterday by a score of 5-4. But the Lady Rams will talk about the busy week that they have coming up. And at last check, had Belleville East on Monday. Tuesday, they go to Effingham. Wednesday, they will have the Annies now, of course, in a change of schedule. I believe Thursday, Mascoutah, and Friday will be Salem, before they head to Heron next week as a 4th seed against Carbondale. And Carbondale's a team they struggled against this year in regular season play. We remember what happened last year, though. They had Carbondale up, or they were up on Carbondale early at that Heron Regional. Carbondale came back, got a couple of runs, I think, in the 3rd inning. So at some point in the 4th inning, before it's an official game, it gets washed because of all the rain that came in, and it rained so long, so hard, that there was nothing they were going to be able to do about it. Especially come back the next day, so Lady Rams lost that way. So it'll be interesting for them with this busy week coming up, maybe get some games in. It looks pretty promising, and maybe get them some momentum, hopefully, as they head into the tough Heron Regional.
One thing about it, their bats are on fire. They're cracking home runs left and right, doing some things. We've seen them in stages. We've seen them at the beginning of the year. We saw them at the middle of the year, of course, and now we're seeing them at the end with a couple of games this week and, of course, postseason. The improvement from March to May has been extraordinarily great for them. I think Lance Bolt and staff have done a great job to markedly improve that team and get them in a position next week where on a given day, like last year we saw at Heron, if the rain hadn't come in, very well could have knocked off Carbondale in that first round. You just got to wonder, as things get going again, that team gets rolling. They've got that in the back of their mind from last year. Things could be different. Maybe they could get on a roll and upset.
Of course, speaking of, Heron hosting that regional there in the Ohio Division along with the Benton Rangers. And we'll talk with Brett Blondie, the head coach of Ranger Baseball. That's a team that when the season started out, your expectations after a team has such talent come through always remain a little bit higher. But this is a Ranger team that I think now is starting to exceed expectations a little bit. They got on a bit of a roll there. Of course, they lost to Florida, then Mount Vernon, two actually tough opponents for them. But when you look at the Rangers, they've played very well lately, and they would be a team I don't necessarily want to face in the postseason.
2 seed in their regional, I believe, behind West Frankfort. To me, is a wide open regional. I know Frankfort's the one, but Benton's beat them at least once this year. And I think the way the Rangers are playing, they're getting a lot of games in. They're going to touch their limit of 35. They're close to that. They've been playing very well. They gave Mount Vernon fits after being short game on their home field earlier in the week. So this is a Rangers team and a program that's starting to get better at the right time and to get things going. And a 2 seed that hosts a regional in their field. And Benton always seems to have that extra incentive, that extra whatever against Frankfort there at Evaldi Field in Benton. So we'll see how that turns out a week from today.
Another another Ohio Division team, the Harrisburg Bulldogs. That's a team I thought we were kind of surprised when we talked about it last week, got the 1 seed in their regional. But the baseball they played of late has proved that maybe they are worthy of that 1 seed. Of course, we'll talk with Jeffrey Drake about Harrisburg Bulldog Athletics coming up.
Yep, crazy regional there.
That it is. And Bulldog baseball, that's a team that with the experience, I know that they had some postseason blunders these past few seasons when they were expected to go pretty far. But maybe this is a team that when you least expect it does something.
In a crazy regional. I mean, AJ, Carterville, Murphy, Harrisburg. I mean, all those teams have beat up on each other the last 3 or 4 years. Just about when you think you can sit at the table and put money down on this team, this other team pops up on the wheel. And you put money on that team, then this team pops up. I mean, everybody's kind of thrown slingshots at each other the last 3 or 4 years. AJ's been to a super. Murphy won a regional 1 year, then got beat when they were heavily favored. Harrisburg got out the state, then got beat the next year. I mean, there's so much competition. And Carterville's a 5 seed at home. They're an up-and-coming team. The next couple of years are going to be loaded on the diamond. So that whole regional there is so very good. Vienna's the only one really doesn't have a chance to win, but everybody else so very equal as far as the river-to-river postseason tournament goes.
No doubt about that. Of course, the Rams postseason, not next week, like 1A and 2A, it's the week after. We'll talk about the week to come with Mount Vernon Rams baseball coach Tim Holloway. You heard the Benton Rangers are going to get their 35 in. Well, barring something strange with the weather forecast, the Mount Vernon Rams are as well, even have to cut a game. We'll talk about that and more with Tim Holloway, Mount Vernon Rams baseball coach, here on the Saturday Sports Show. It's cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
We're back after these.
A digestive problem can affect every area of your life. But now there's a specialist right here in town who focuses on digestive health. Mayo Clinic trained Dr. Tegpal Atwal has opened the only gastroenterology clinic in Mount Vernon. Dr. Atwal treats acid reflux, gallbladder problems, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcers, and more. For your appointment with Dr. Atwal at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 618-241-9071.
More Americans are on the move today than ever before. One of the most popular modes of transportation is the motorcycle. Motorcycles take us to our jobs, school, to the beach, and all around the country. If you're a bike rider, your Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, wants to make sure you have the best insurance protection while you're riding. Ask about the money-saving auto cycle discount and the experienced driver discount, too. Call Page Insurance at 242-7000 today about motorcycle insurance from Pekin Insurance.
Qualifications and rules apply. See institution for details.
Hi, I saw your ad for a checking account that earns interest on my money.
Oh, yes, that's our plutonium account, and it requires $50,000 to open.
What? How am I supposed to grow my money when I can't even afford to open the account?
Introducing Kasasa, free checking, where even the smallest balance earns high yields, plus refunds on ATM fees nationwide. Try Kasasa.com. Kasasa.
Kasasa is carried locally at People's National Bank or online at peoplesnationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Here's Jeff Schmidt for Schmidt Chevrolet Cadillac of Mount Vernon.
We have a good selection of 2013 ATS, CTS, and XTSs that we have to move, and right now is a great time to purchase because you get the year-end incentives. The closeouts that we're doing on these cars is remarkable, and the savings is there. So right now we're making them very affordable, and I can't say enough about the product. It is fantastic.
Schmidt Chevrolet Cadillac of Mount Vernon, 3423 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com, cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
There you go. We're talking Mount Vernon Rams baseball with head coach Tim Holloway. His team 5 games over 500 heading into the final week of the regular season. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
You know, a pretty good week for Rams baseball. I know lost the Centralia game, of course, to rainouts. It'll be made up next week. But you win 2. You win in an exciting fashion in extra innings. And the Rams are now 5 games over 500 on a nice winning streak as we head into the final week of the regular season.
Well, you know, those are fun ways to win, and I feel like we're getting better, and that's the most important thing. But we did have a good week. We definitely didn't want to go have that game on Monday and not be able to play the rest of the week, so it was nice to be able to get that game in yesterday, even though I wasn't sure about noon on Friday. It was going to be tough. We just had a lot of rain and a lot of people in the same situation as us.
Is the rumor true that I heard yesterday you were out on the field before the sun came up?
Well, we spent 2 days out there trying to drag that out, and yes, about daylight we had a lot of standing water. Of course, we had an inch and a half of rain or whatever going into Thursday, so we just, boy, it would not dry out, and I was very happy we were able to get that game in yesterday. Coach McClure was able to get some work done on it, and it worked out okay.
One thing I got to ask, when you get this time of year and you've played as many games as you have, in fact, one over your limit right now, when you get a week where you play on a bookend Monday and a Friday, the 3 days in between, I mean, at this point, the guys are ready to play games. They're not wanting to practice. As a coach and a staff, what kind of things do you do to kind of keep practice, I guess, and the ability of trying to keep kids focused? What things do you do to keep them this late in the year focused on the practice at hand?
Well, I think, you know, everyone goes through that, and everybody's probably different. For us, this group has done a pretty good job of coming every day, and really all of our groups. I think it's important to have that mentality. But our seniors are now out of school, so it's important that when they get there and come through that gate that their focus is on baseball. But I think it's important also to stay sharp but not go as long. I think you can get your work in. You know, there were times early in the year we go 2.5, 3 hours. We have a lot to go over, a lot of things to do, situations. And at this time of year, especially indoors, I try to keep it under an hour and a half and be sharp, get through our work, stay with our routine. I think routine builds confidence, but, you know, everyone has their own opinion. But for us, that's what we have always done. You know, they don't want to be sitting out there for 3 hours going over things we've done a million times. I think you go over it, you stay sharp, and you stay ready to play.
Looking at this week, of course, an interesting week of games. 4A Belleville West on Monday. Then, of course, Centralia Wednesday, and then the Highland doubleheader at this point. I mean, and then a regional next week. When and where, if you already have, do you start setting the pitching staff, starting rotation, and things like that for the upcoming weeks?
I think it's going to work out fine. I mean, the way our games are set up, we have a pretty good idea what we're going to do. So as long as the weather stays good, with the 3 games spread out this week, I think we're in pretty good shape. You know, we just hope that we don't get into a regional week and get a lot of rain and have that mess. So hopefully we're right where we want to be, and we'll let the chips fall.
Of course, the chips fell very well for Rams baseball this week. The 2 extra inning games, both of them wins against the Benton Rangers and the Mater Dei Knights. But yesterday, I thought, taking into consideration how that game went, a lot of work into the field, and just, of course, the layoff in between the games, Rams played pretty well, just a couple of defensive miscues, but everybody kind of came alive when you needed them to. Brock was starting to show signs of fatigue in the 7th, Brock Fulkerson, that is, but Tyler Morgan came on in relief, pitched pretty darn well for 2 innings, got 4 strikeouts, and then Blake Jones came through in the bottom of the 9th with a walk-off single, and the Rams get another big win in extra innings.
Right, it was a good win, and what has happened with our group is we're starting to see some progress with their weaknesses early in the season. You guys have seen us all year. You know, our weaknesses early were too many strikeouts, our 2-strike approach was poor, and we didn't hit with 2 outs, and they've attacked those weaknesses. You know, Monday with Benton, we had 1 strikeout in 8 innings. We only had 2 yesterday in 9 innings. You know, we did a good job with 2 strikes. Blake Jones gets down 0-2, I believe, and battles there and gets that thought of, you know, he's thinking up the middle and doing the right thing and shoots one up the middle and we win the game. So we're getting the hit with runners in scoring position. Those are the things that, we have to do. We've had pretty solid pitching and defense this year, but our weaknesses early, we were one hit away. And we're starting to get those, and you saw that this week in those two games. Even Monday, 24 outs or whatever, we had one strikeout, so we made them make all those plays. And sometimes in this game, they're going to make every one, but we hit the ball on the line, we hit the ball on the ground hard, not many flyouts. So those things are positives, and that has allowed us to win these close games here late.
Well, and it really seems like it's offensively, if you look up and down the lineup, a guy like Ryan Campbell's been silently consistent all year. Thomas Weber's had a few big home runs as of late. His bat's starting to come around. Jake Pike's been pretty hot all season long. Blake Jones, as we mentioned, really coming around offensively. But, fast forward to the very, very bottom of the order, Zach Brookman's a guy that lately, they're not extra base hits, but he has found a way, if not getting a single 9 out of his last of 11 or something like that, he's at least been getting on base, which makes it easier when you turn back to the top of the order. So guys like that coming around and improving all season long has really made a difference offensively.
Absolutely. All those guys just getting a little better. Each one of them is making a difference. Think back to that, even the week before that Carbondale game, 2 outs, runner on second, Zach Brookman stays back, pitch away, drives the line drive over the first baseman's head. We win 1-0. Those things that you've got to have to win in baseball. We're in a lot of games. We're keeping it close, but we've got to have that hit. And been pleased with the way guys are coming around and having a better idea at the plate. What are you looking for? Whether it's 1-0, 2-0, there were times early in the season where some of our young guys had let a good-looking fastball go right down the plate, and you may be the only one you get. So you've got to be smarter, and they're starting to figure those things out.
Speaking of figuring things out, here we go. It's our WMIX Sports Social Media Question of the Week, and we have one for you. We know you can answer this one again. So we're taking it easy on you here as we go down the stretch. Okay.
All right.
What is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
Okay. Not much of a dessert guy, but I would say, boy, I don't eat dessert, guys.
Do you have like
holidays, I'm going with my sister's turtle cheesecake.
See, there we go.
There we go. Christmas thing. She's home. She's making it homemade. Turtle cheesecake has got to be it.
One of our answers already on our Facebook page today, Dan Mings, his favorite dessert was another piece of meat. So
there you go.
So we'll take just about anything.
Yeah.
Same here.
Coach, we're looking forward to another great week of Rams baseball and hopefully an even better postseason. Good luck to the Rams next week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
That's Tim Holloway, head coach, Mount Vernon Rams baseball. Our next guest will flip genders. We'll go to softball. Mount Vernon Lady Rams head coach Lance Bolt will join us here on Saturday morning. It's cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
We'll be back after these.
Whether it's Mother Nature's inability to decide on a season, a weekend that got a little out of hand, or just life, there's always something looking to damage your vehicle. This is Chase Landers from Landers Collision Centers. Maybe winter weather turned your full-size sedan into a compact, or a little hail has your truck looking like Swiss cheese. Perhaps a deer decided to go for a ride on your hood, or maybe your truck is missing its hitch and bumper after pulling your little brother out of the ditch last weekend. Did a bad breakup leave a little graffiti on your SUV? We hope not, but we've seen it all, and we certainly don't judge. Whatever mess life has created for your vehicle, we'll clean it up. As a direct repair facility for many insurance companies, we take care of just about everything, even getting you into a temporary vehicle while we restore yours. That's the Landers difference. Top to bottom, big or small, Landers fixes them all. Come see us in Mount Vernon and Salem and ask us about free detailing for the life of your vehicle. Or call 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
Your spine is a miracle of engineering, so when pain strikes, your body is telling you to get help fast. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois is proud to feature their spine care team. Doctors Kowalski and Smith, the professionals at Orthopedic Center, specialize in back and neck pain. So put our spine care team on the job. Find out more online at orthocenter-si.com. Stop the pain, fix the problem, and enjoy life again. The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. By now you have heard about our new One Checking product. The new One Account is a high interest earning, free checking account designed for everyone. Unlike other banks that pay interest on higher balance, this account pays interest on all balances. From high schoolers to Warren Buffett, One will work for you. You can talk to one of us at 244-3000 and learn about the details. One, exclusively at Community First Bank. You will be one happy customer. Member FDIC.
We welcome you back. Saturday Sports Show on WMIX, WMIXSports.com. It's cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Our next guest is head coach of Mount Vernon Lady Rams softball. He's Lance Bolt. Coach, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
You know what? Good to have you back. Last week, of course, you guys had an early game at the Triad Invitational. You got a big win in extra innings over Civic Memorial before falling to Belleville West to conclude the Triad tournament. Much like many of the other teams around the area, though, you don't get many in this week due to the wet weather. But you go to Fairfield yesterday. I know it was a tough loss, but Fairfield's a good team, and that's a good experience for the Lady Rams heading into a busy week this coming week.
Yeah, it was frustrating last night. We had a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the sixth and let it slip away. But like you said, it was good for us to play a good team. You know, I think they're the 1 seed over in their regional. They're 2A regional, but yeah, they're a solid team, and we had a chance to beat them and let it slip away. But they're solid team. So, and whenever you're not getting to play many games throughout the course of a week, you want to be able to play, and that's why we scheduled that game. Now this next week we've got 5 games, all quality opponents, but it's going to be good for us this week to get ready for the regionals.
Speaking of those opponents in this week, graduation coming up this week, lots of things going on school-wise, and 5 softball games. The key to this week, keeping your team focused on things, is what?
Well, this week we got to put it all together. We started off the season offensively, defensively, our pitching. It was all kind of a mess early in the year. But when Hannah Wright came back, able to pitch, it really kind of solidified our pitching. Our offense really started, hitting well, clicking well, and then but then our defense was absolutely horrendous. And the amazing thing is, here in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, our defense has probably been the best part of our game. So, we got to get our offense going again, and we got to get our pitching back to where it was, and we just want to finish strong and on a positive note. These girls have worked so hard, and it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been tough on them mentally, I think, more than anything. You win some fun games, and then you just, and that's how it is for everybody, in every sport, every team, every coach, every player, but we just want to finish strong on a positive note heading into the regionals.
Of course, speaking of the regional, I couldn't think of a better week to get some true tests than this coming week before heading into that regional, of course, with Belleville East. Tuesday, of course, you go to Effingham. Wednesday, you have the Centralia Annies in a crucial South 7 Conference matchup. Thursday, of course, with Mascoutah. Friday, Salem. Some opportunities for the Lady Rams to get some wins against some quality opponents heading into that Heron Regional the following week.
Right. This is a tough week, no question about it. Belleville East is a very good school. Effingham, I believe it's their senior day, and they're going to be pumped. And they're better this year than they were last year. They're pretty good. And then we got Centralia. They're wanting to win badly and beat us, finish off the conference season. They want to finish strong. And then Mascoutah, they played Nashville 7-6. They play some really tough teams. And, of course, Salem has beaten some good teams, too. So, we got 5 good tests for us. And, like I said, we just got to put this thing together here at the right time. And, I think the girls, are they tired a little bit? Yeah, I mean, they've worked extremely hard. But we're going to practice today. We're going to go out there next week and try to get as many games in as possible and do as well as we can and just be positive, maybe surprise some people, come regional time.
Well, and come regional time, the pairings and seeds were released this week at the Heron Regional, every 3A and 4A regional. You get the number 1 Carbondale Terriers, and is that a game that you see on the schedule, same location, same team, same round, and you get a little bit excited knowing what happened last year. I mean, I take the 2 games in the regular season out of focus, but thinking about what happened last year, I know those were different girls in a different team, but do you get a little excited knowing that, hey, we have an opportunity to go in and make up for what happened last year that wasn't even our fault?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's all still a little fresh in our minds, just losing it the way we did last year with the weather and catching a really bad break. Just looking at even this year, we have not played well against Carbondale. In both, probably you could make the argument those are 2 of the worst games we've played all year, just from a hitting standpoint and defensive standpoint. We weren't able to throw Hannah the first time. The second time, we just didn't make any plays. So, if we can, like I said, we're playing better defensively. If we can keep that rolling, get some hits to fall in at some crucial times, anything can happen. And, Carbondale's very well coached. They're a good team, solid team. They deserve the number 1 seed. But like I said, as last year proved, as 2 years ago proved for Mount Vernon and Carbondale, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And I look at this, our final questions, our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And this week's question is, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
Oh, that's easy for me. I love ice cream, anything ice cream. So, if we're heading over to St. Louis and we go out to eat, we'll always stop at Cold Stone on the way back and just, or even if it's not Cold Stone, even McDonald's ice cream. That doesn't matter. I love ice cream.
So do you prefer soft serve or do you prefer like the hand dip hard ice cream like a Cold Stone?
I love both. Hand dip is good, man. I tell you, cookie dough, whatever. I love it all.
Do you like cone or a cup?
Waffle cone.
Nice.
If I had to choose, waffle cone.
Nice. Now, do you like the chocolate dipped waffle cone like they have at Cold Stone or just regular waffle cone?
Oh man, you just keep adding to it. Chocolate dip. That works out.
Nice. Lance, we're hoping for a great week for Lady Rams softball. We get to see a few of your games this week that we're pretty excited about, of course, heading into the postseason. So good luck to Lady Rams. We'll see you, I believe, on Tuesday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. That's Lance Bolt, head coach of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams, and we being the entity there, of course, as Lady Rams will head to Effingham. You can hear that game on WMIX and WMIXsports.com. But this is a team. Lance is a pretty humble guy, so I didn't want to. We had talked about this off air, so I didn't want to quite phrase it to him. But this is a team that we talked about it before the show has shown marked improvement, or maybe we talked about it on the show. I don't remember. We had a pretty good opening dialogue there. But this is a team that has shown immense improvement. Others pat themselves on the back. I figure why not? Cool. But a marked improvement from March to May for this Lady Rams team.
Well, yeah, I think it was both. But I really like what Lance Bolt has done with this team, and I really like considering how we've seen him. And I think it's very neat over a course of a season. When you see teams maybe every day, it's hard to see that improvement. And when you see teams every other day or so, it's maybe you see a little bit more. But for sure, either way, this team has improved dramatically and have gotten so much better. And they're not going to be an easy out in the regional here. And I'm going to tell you right now, they will be a difficult out in that regional. Somebody's going to have to put them out. Carbondale's going to get the first shot, but this team will be very tough to put out in the postseason. That's for certain.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I forget sometimes whether our conversation are on air or off air, just because every conversation we have is pretty well is very similar to this program. But we will talk Benton Rangers baseball with Brett Blondie coming up here on the Saturday Sports Show. But after a quick break, the Saturday Sports Show cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim. A skilled cardiologist, Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
Hey, it's Brittany here, and I have a very special guest on the phone with me right now. It's Roy Schmidt from Ford Square King City Chrysler. Hey, Roy.
Hi, Brittany.
Roy, over at Ford Square, you have some amazing things going with the Lincoln vehicles. Tell me about that.
Yes, we do, Brittany. On the 2013 Lincoln MKZ and the 2000 Lincoln MKX, we sold 13 of these last month, and we're out to do the same this month. And we actually went out and purchased about 6 or 7 more of them from other dealers. The big thing going right now now with them is 0%, plus you get $5,250 cash back on the Lincoln MKZ, the sedan, and then on the MKX you can get 0% plus $6,250 on the MKX. So it's a great opportunity right now for someone that's looking for a Lincoln.
Very nice. Well, Roy, if somebody wants to take advantage of these deals, where can they find you at?
We are at 1501 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and we're open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. during the week.
That's at Ford Square, King City Chrysler.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Show is cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
That's what healthcare should be.
Glad to have you with us. We're talking Benton Rangers baseball with head coach Brett Blondie. Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
You know what, coming out of the game against Flora, you guys before that had a nice winning streak going, and it seems like the Rangers, as we head into heading into your regional week this coming week, Rangers really feel like they are putting it together at the right time. We're going to try to get a better connection with Brett Blondie here on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll actually call him back is what we will do. But you look at the Ben Rangers, Danny, and of course the team we had talked about, Flora Wolves, coming out of that game. That was a tough game for Benton, but prior to that had a nice winning streak going. And this is a Ranger team that I think you feel like number 2 seed in that Rangers list we had talked about. A team like West Frankfort, that's going to be a nice rivalry matchup for them if it ends up as 1 versus 2 in a regional championship game. And that's a team they've already beaten once this season. And I think that when you look at the voting in that particular regional, it just happened to be a regional where 1-2 was a toss-up.
Well, I look at this regional, and Benton gets to host for the first time probably about 5 or 6 years a regional. Number 2, you have a West Frankfort team that has gotten a lot of ink, a lot of publicity this year, and you throw in the fact that ZRC is not a bad team as well. It's a very difficult regional, that's for certain.
Well, it is. Of course, talking about the Rangers, we welcome Brett Blondie back, but we were talking about the bit of the hot streak the Rangers were on. And Coach Blondie, the Rangers got hot, appear to be getting hot at the right time.
Hey, you got me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, we like where we're at right now. We feel like we haven't put all 3 facets of the game together. Hitting, defense, pitching. But we're closer now than where we've been all year. We've had a good win streak there going to play Flora, and so we got a pretty good shot against Flora and played Mount Vernon, a pretty good game. But we played some tough teams this year. We competed pretty well with those guys. We like what
I think we've lost Brett Blondie here on the Saturday Sports Show. We apologize for that, and we'll figure that out and try to fix that before the show is over. But when you take a look at the Ben Rangers, Danny, again, we were talking about that team and start off the year, and you looked at that game in March at the Uvalde Field with the Mount Vernon Rams. Granted, that was a Ram team that was very frustrated going into that game, hoping to get the bats heated up, but Rams ended up winning that one 17-2. And I think you knew going into that game that it was a possibility that the Rangers would rebound nicely. Look at some of the talent with the Gibbs kid, the head kid, among others. And I think you know that's a team that has experience in big game situations and a great program and certainly well coached.
Well coached, and I think they're a team that right now, I think playing at home, I think being at home at Uvalde Field with West Frankfort with Ziegler. I'm not saying Ziegler is going to be a pushover because Ziegler being a Franklin County school, they're going to be ready to go as well. It's a very difficult regional, but I think if Benton somehow gets that final, it would not surprise me in the least bit to see them beat West Frankfort and advance to the sectional. I mean, it's a very tough sectional if you can get out and get going. But if Benton can win that regional course, then they would play the winner of the Nashville regional, which is very tough. So, I think Benton has a regional that's very winnable.
Well, and certainly, and I mean, when you really look at things, you look at that. We talked about this briefly last week, the Harrisburg sectional, and when you look at the Benton Rangers as the 2 seed in the Benton regional, getting that Nashville winner certainly does them no favors. When you look at Nashville, Freeburg, Althoff as the top 3, but you look at the Nashville Hornets, this team, if I'm not mistaken, only has 2 losses on the season. a pretty gaudy record for the Hornets and Chad Malavi right now. But when you look at 2A side, that side especially, not bad.
No, and Freeburg's no pushover either. And I mean, if Althoff and Nashville to get to the final week from the day, oh, what a game that would be. And then Chester DuQuoin's an interesting regional because Chester blew through the Black Diamond and blew through that. And when they got through there, now the question is, can they do that where they can beat a river-to-river school, DuQuoin's schedule? Now, Chester, when they were a river-to-river school, they were pretty darn salty. But they're very good this year, very good baseball team from all people have told me, seen them, umpired them, and everything else. Playing DuQuoin will be very, very interesting as far as on their home field as well.
Well, and it will, and there's certainly no doubt about that. And 2A baseball, of course, we talked about it last week. We told you it was somewhat of a toss-up. And, you look at the other side of that. You look at T-Town awaiting. You look at a Carlisle possibly, or a Westland even might be a team that jumps up and surprises people. I've seen some of their scores throughout the season, and it'd be amazing. Okay, we think we finally this time have the head coach of the Benton Rangers, clearly, Brett Blondie. Coach, you with us?
I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There we go. This is much better this time. But we were talking about the Rangers being on a nice little roll at the right time.
Yeah, we had a nice run, and we feel like though that we can still play some good ball ahead of us. We feel like we can put all three facets of the game together better than what we've done, and hopefully we get a little hot coming into to regional play next week.
You get to host a regional. That's one of the things in a long time that I can remember that Benton gets to host a regional. That's got to be very nice as far as you're concerned.
We're excited about it. We're lucky that the IHSA, when they blindfolded themselves and threw a dart at the board, that it landed on Benton this time. It seems as if they do that occasionally, but it always ends up at the same place every year. But we're happy that they're giving us a shot.
Speaking of a shot, you're a 2 seed at home. However, you've beaten the 1 seed Frankfort, a pretty decent ZRC team as a 3. It's a nice little Franklin County top 3. But being at home, playing a team you've already beaten in Frankfort, that's got to feel good as far as that goes. And what about ZRC as well?
Well, we think that when our number 1 and number 2 are throwing, and they're throwing pretty well, that we got a chance to beat anybody. Having already beaten the teams that we've seen in the regional, we feel pretty good. But we know that they're good ball clubs, and they're going to come ready to play. Frankfurt will be fired up. They always want to beat us, and vice versa. We always really want to beat them. And Ziegler's got a really good number 1. It's going to be very difficult for us to beat. We're going to have to play a good ball game to beat them. But like you said, hopefully we can put everything together and be able to beat Ziegler on Thursday that gives us a shot at that regional title on Saturday.
Hey, speaking of giving a shot and whatnot, this week your team, of course, begins regional play. Do you have any more regular season games scheduled, or are you done and ready to go for the regional?
Well, we got 2 today. We're playing Trico's coming in. We're playing them here at home, and then we still got 1 conference makeup game that we got to make up on Monday. And then we had Weber Township call us the other day and wanted to play on Tuesday, so we're going to go up there on Tuesday, and then we'll come back here on Wednesday and watch the winner of Johnson City and Waltonville play Frankfurt, and then we'll practice after that, and then we'll play Ziegler on Thursday. So we still got 4 games that we're going to get in, and it was funny because last week, we were 5 games over starting the beginning of the week, and we hadn't seen Waltonville. We were going into the seeding, and so we'd try to get a hold of them and play them, and I hadn't even thought of it. And Coach Miller goes, "Hey, how we looking? As far as games, we over in games?" So I started counting. I'm like, "Man, we're 5 games over right now." So we had decided that we wanted to play every day this week and practice last week. So we canceled Carbondale and Nashville early last week, and hoping that we'd get all of our games in this week. And, of course, Mother Nature, being the female she was, did not cooperate with me. That's kind of typical for me. But she didn't cooperate as well this week. But Coach has got the field looking nice and ready, and we told Higgs to put his waders on out here center field, kind of like he's up at the Opdyke Swamp or something. But he's said, put your waders on and get out there because we got lakes out in the outfield. But we were able to play last night, and we're going to play 2 today, so we're excited.
I'm just glad you're keeping Chris Head out of trouble. You put the waders on and send him out to the swamp. I mean, that keeps him kind of in one spot, kind of like teaching. You keep that one kid in an area where you know where he's at.
That's what I try to do. You know, if I keep them in one spot, well, they still seem to find trouble, you know, in the classroom. But yeah, I try to keep Coach Head under wraps as much as I can. He gets all fired up. He worked his tail off on the mound, and we played floor. And the first thing the floor kid did was he comes in and he just digs it and just digs. Oh, Coach Head's going crazy over there, and I'm like, yeah, you can't do much about that, but. No, he does a good job on the field, you know, and we try to keep him as busy as we possibly can.
Hey, we know you're busy. You got to get things rolling out there for that doubleheader against Trico this morning. Our final question is our social media question, and I know you can answer this one. Coach Holloway answered it. We know you can answer it. So this week's question is, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
After-dinner dessert, I'm going to have to say, boy, that's a tough one. That was out of left field. I was not expecting that. What Coach Holloway say? What was his?
He said something about his sister's turtle cheesecake at Thanksgiving. I mean, it was pretty well qualified.
I'm gonna go a little bit more general, and I'm just gonna say my favorite after dinner dessert is a cake, some type of cake, and if I can have a glass of milk with it, I'm really good after dinner. But no, I'm not going to get real specific. I don't think any of my family makes anything like, you know, like a sister's cheesecake or anything like that.
Well, knowing him like we all do, he wasn't a big dessert guy, he said. So when he does eat dessert, it's usually around the holidays, and that's how it ends up working out for him, that his sister's turtle cheesecake is his favorite.
Yeah. Well, that's Coach Holloway for you. He beat me again, so...
Coach, we know you have a big week coming up, and certainly as we take a look at your postseason pairings, thinking that good things could likely happen to the Benton Rangers over the coming weeks. So best of luck to you and your team.
Hey, I appreciate it. Good talking to you guys.
Always a pleasure. We were glad that we could be there for both of your games this year.
Yeah.
And that's where we will call it a day. That's Brett Blondie. He is the head coach of the Rangers and a good friend of the program. And when he was here in Mount Vernon, that was our first year, the entity of doing Mount Vernon Rams baseball, and was good to us even as Tim's assistant. But a great guy. Glad to see him having success down there as head coach of his alma mater. And like we talked about actually during the game this past week, had a pretty good high school career, all South especially, down there under Roper.
Yep.
So,
played a lot of basketball, did a lot of that too, so things worked out well.
So there you go. It all works out in the end, and it's all going to work out as we take a break here on the Saturday Sports Show, cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Get your next rad weather. It will be partly sunny and cool throughout today, high 62, mainly clear tonight. It will be chilly, low 37 in the countryside to 42 in town. Mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a milder afternoon, high 69. And Monday, sunshine will be followed by increased clouds, high 76. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Registration for fall classes at Rend Lake College is going on now. With more than 100 degree and certificate programs, RLC can put you on the fast track to a new career or to continue your education. More affordable than four-year universities and private schools, you can save thousands of dollars at RLC. Our trained academic counselors will make sure you're on the right path, whether you plan to transfer to a four-year university or head straight into the workforce. Walk-in registration continues through August 15th. Call us at 437-5321 or find us online at rlc.edu. Rend Lake College, your journey starts here.
The health of your kidneys has a big impact on your overall health, affecting everything from your blood pressure to your bones. And if you ever have a kidney problem, Dr. Kangura is here to help. Dr. Kangura trained at the Mayo Clinic and specializes in conditions ranging from kidney stones and uncontrolled high blood pressure to chronic kidney disease. Dr. Kangura sees patients at Crossroads Specialty Clinic. For an appointment, call 618-241-9071.
Where's the drums?
WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Saturday Sports Show is cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That's Danny Zerwinski. I'm Chris Schugle. Glad to be here with you as we talk Wayne City Lady Indians softball with Joe Bernard. He is the head coach of the Lady Indians, regional champs last year, and off to another successful start here in 2014. Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
You know what, you guys off to another good start here in 2014. As I say good start as the season's winding down, but Midland Trail Conference regular season champs. You're in the finals of the Midland Trail Conference tournament, a number 1 seed heading to the regional in which you will host. So a great season thus far for Lady Indian softball coming off of that basketball run.
Yeah, so far so good. We've we have a lot of young ladies who put in a lot of hard work, and so far so good this season.
Well, fine. Glad to have you on. You've been playing, seems like, about 800 games this spring, trying to get you on a Saturday. But I want to go back to February, and the Lady Indians got to a sectional final in basketball. Was there any carryover from that success into your softball season this year at all?
Absolutely. From an individual standpoint, there were two. I guess we have 2 starters on our softball team who were starters on that basketball team that made the nice run. So from an individual athlete standpoint, it's not like all those basketball girls came over to softball on that high, but the team as a whole, that's really how we started off our very first meeting, our very first practice, was talking about the run that the basketball ladies made and what it took to get there, and that it was our job as a softball team to match that, to continue that.
Looking at this week, it's a hectic week, obviously, and after winning a regional last year, conference tournament going to wrap up this week right into a regional. Is there a fear of a high or a low this week, or kids going to stay on the even keel as far as the conference tournament title and regional title up for grabs?
I think we're all right. I'll be honest with you. We were a little concerned a couple of days ago. We were on every day our games were being pushed back. So this past week we spent a lot of time in the gym. We spent a lot of time on the outfield grass. We spent very little time on the dirt. But we played our first game in the conference tournament last night, and the girls came out. They were fired up. They played hard and really put together a great game last night, and that's what put us into the championship game for the conference tournament now on Monday.
You mentioned the girls. Give us some of the names, some of the kids you have relied on this year with all success this season.
We still have a pretty young team. We have one senior starter on the team, Michaela Smith. She holds down left field. She's a big bat right in the middle of our order. We have some other seniors who come in and help us out, and Tara Shreve, Hunter Clark, and Kelsey White. We really, as a team, rely first and foremost on our pitching. Claire Miller does an absolutely fantastic job of attacking the strike zone and keeping hitters off balance. She was not only named to the all-conference team this year, but she was Player of the Year in the conference. Michaela Smith also was named all-conference, and Tori Pasley, our leadoff hitter, center fielder, she's a spark plug, and she was all-conference for the second year as a junior.
This week, of course, conference championship, and, of course, hosting a regional again. I think that's got to be good, especially with the likes of Woodlawn in there as well. That's going to be a very interesting regional if you two happen to not only play Monday, obviously you will, and then, of course, on Saturday if you guys meet up again twice in 1 week.
Yeah, and we played them about probably 10 or 12 days ago. So, yeah, it'll be possibly 3 times in a matter of 3 weeks going up against Woodlawn, and obviously that scares me a little bit. You go up against a good team that many times, and anything can happen.
Final question for you. We know you're busy. You got a good morning going on, bit work-wise. We're going to ask you our social media question of the week, and this week's question is, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
After-dinner dessert?
Huh?
I'll be honest with you. Right now it's frozen ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. We had purchased one for Mother's Day, and it's been getting eaten slowly every evening after dinner for this past week. So I've had my fill of ice cream cake.
Do you eat the ice cream part first, or do you eat the inside with the chunky chocolate and things of that nature?
Oh, the inside comes last. That's my favorite part. So you got to eat around the chocolate, crunchy stuff until the very end, and that's where you finish.
So have you given these new Blizzard cakes a chance yet, or are you just going to stick with the old traditional ice cream cake?
You know, I have not done the Blizzard cake, but I bet it's amazing.
It is, and I had the Oreo one. That is actually absolutely phenomenal and definitely a must-try. Coach, we know you're busy this morning. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and keep your assistant in line.
We will. Appreciate it.
That's Joe Bernard, head coach of the Lady Indians, and probably a pick to click right now on that side of the bracket in Class 1A, and definitely a team that could write their own destiny. Woodlawn Lady Cardinals do stand in the way, but that's a 1-2 matchup that's happening in the Midland Trail Conference tournament, and say you win that, it'd be tough to beat a team 3 times. But if this was a year that a team could do it, Wayne City is definitely playing very well on the softball side, and probably one of my favorites to possibly win that regional. So we'll see what happens. Trying to figure out what needs to happen. We need to take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll give you our answers to the WMIX Sports social media question of the week. Stay tuned. And also, we thank those who might have their 1992 radios out listening to us today. Thank you to the Garners for taking a listen today on the Saturday Sports Show. We appreciate them. We appreciate all of you accessing us today. We'll be back after these.
You need a great quality new-to-you vehicle. There's a reason why Second Chance Auto has been helping put families into affordable, dependable vehicles for over 34 years. Honest, fair deals. Ain't nothing fancy, just great vehicles with warranties and bank rate financing for all. That's the only way Second Chance Auto will do business. They're receiving new vehicles every day. So be sure to stop by and find out how you can save thousands on the total cost of your vehicle. Helping people get a great, dependable vehicle for over 34 years. Second Chance Auto, Route 142 East in Mount Vernon. Call 244-4582.
If you can't pick us up where you live, move. This is WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion, another Withers Broadcasting Station.
Women's health care just got closer to home, right here in Salem. St. Mary's Good Samaritan Women's Health Care and OBGYNs Dr. Deborah Carson, Dr. Doug Combs, Dr. Jamie Plett, Dr. Elizabeth Byers-Nolan, and Dr. Michael Schifano are seeing patients every Tuesday at the Salem Family Health Center. That means you'll have a full range of OB/GYN services close to home, including prenatal and wellness checks, incontinence treatment, and family planning options for when your family's complete. Plus, access to state-of-the-art Da Vinci robotic surgery for quicker recovery and less pain after hysterectomy. Ladies, your health is important, so why not get OB/GYN care right here close to home by St. Mary's Good Samaritan Women's Health Care. Call 1-877-456-2496 to make your appointment. That's 1-877-456-2496.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. Now is a great time to move your account to Community First Bank. With our new One account offering the highest interest rate in the market, free checking, and CD specials delivered by people you know and trust, why would you not bank with the market leader in Jefferson County? We offer 5 locations with 7 ATMs and have been serving the Jefferson County market since 1906. Stop in and see why our bank is the fastest growing bank in Jefferson County. Community First Bank. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski for a second hour here, cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
My alleged son in studio, Avery Barton, is with us. That's good dude. Need to work on our eye and hand gesture communication, however, but we're working on that. I'm curious to see what his favorite after-dinner dessert may be. It's our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. Hit us up on Twitter at WMIX Sports. Find us on Facebook as well. DC, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
Well, if homemade ice cream is available, if key lime pie is available, and or cake of some type.
Now you're one of those that doesn't like the frosting or icing?
I got to eat the icing. That's
okay, you like the complete package.
Yep.
There you go. Now, my favorite after-dinner dessert is not necessarily my favorite dessert. That's why I was glad that qualifier was in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're full, there's different things. I like if I'm totally morbidly full, being fat. I do like key lime pie. It's not my favorite dessert by any stretch of the imagination. I do like, homemade banana pudding with the slices of banana after dinner. That's probably my favorite after dinner dessert is the homemade banana pudding with the slices of banana. The Nilla wafers, Don't cheat on me. Give me the Nilla wafers. Don't use the off-brand either. I'm the type that knew the difference when a certain chain tried to switch to Hydrox as opposed to Oreos. So there you go. ATB, looking at you. What's your favorite after-dinner dessert? You know the rules. No talking off-air either, so grab yourself a microphone and tell us what your favorite after-dinner dessert is so we can get back to the show.
I guess key lime pie. That's always good.
That works for us. Key lime pie for ATB over there. So that works out. There's our answers. We would love to have yours. Share them with us on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Doesn't have to be your favorite dessert because, like I said, neither one of those are my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. But after dinner, those would be my go-tos if they are available because that's why they're my favorite after dinner dessert. So show us your answers, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. Hit us up on Twitter at WMIX Sports. We'll take a break, come back. We'll talk to our next guest. We will talk with, I believe, Sean Tripp, head coach of the Goreville Black Cats baseball team. It's all coming up. Stay tuned to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
That's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Registration for fall classes at Rindley College is going on now. With more than 100 degree and certificate programs, RLC can put you on the fast track to a new career or to continue your education. More affordable than four-year universities and private schools, you can save thousands of dollars at RLC. Our trained academic counselors will make sure you're on the right path, whether you plan to transfer to a four-year university or head straight into the workforce. Walk-in registration continues through August 15th. Call us at 437-5321 or find us online at rlc.edu. Rindley College, your journey starts here.
A digestive problem can affect every area of your life. But now there's a specialist right here in town who focuses on digestive health. Mayo Clinic trained Dr. Tegpaul Atwal has opened the only gastroenterology clinic in Mount Vernon. Dr. Atwal treats acid reflux, gallbladder problems, inflammatory bowel disease, ulcers, and more. For your appointment with Dr. Atwal at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 618-241-9071.
Welcome back. Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. It's cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
That's Andy Czerwinski. I'm Chris Hugo. We welcome to the program then our next guest. He is the head coach of Goreville Black Cats baseball. He is Sean Tripp. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
You know, doing pretty well. Weather finally starting to come around after the rainy week we had. Temperatures should be warm next week, heading into the postseason for our 1A and 2A teams. And, of course, always great to talk Goreville Black Cats baseball.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, we had a little, I call it a tune-up game. We played Anna yesterday, went 10 innings, though, got beat 6-5, and we were going to play Meridian Monday, and then our regional game will be Wednesday.
So we've got Goreville baseball this year, up and down. You're a 2-seed in your own regional. Talk about your season for some of our listeners who may or may not have been following us closely.
Well, going into the season, I knew we were young. You know, we lost 6 players from last year's team. So I knew we were going to have some players, you know. It probably took half season to try to figure out who needs to be where, and it has. And we've started 3 freshmen at times, 2 sophomores. You know what? We have got better, and the young kids have really got better. So it's been kind of a long season for us. We're not used to this, but when you play a tough schedule, you're going to take your lumps.
You played the young youth, and you got a lot of young talent coming up through the system, and also in junior high. In the midst of that season where you're pulling buttons, do you get to a point of trying everything out there? How many games does it take, or do you kind of stay in a mold for a while to try to see what goes on? How do you and your coaching staff deal with trying to figure out where everybody goes?
Well, my assistant Brian Webb, he does a good job with me, helping me, and we've tried everything. Believe me, we've tried. We played 24 games this year and probably had 20 different lineups. And in the last 3 games, we've had the same lineup. So yeah, you try a little bit of everything. I mean, you got to learn the kids just like they go in our system. So, but we're learning, and we're getting a little bit better.
Well, as you learn it and are getting better, you host your own regional next week, and Cobden is a team that's number 1, gotten a lot of ink this year, but your team's a 2 at home. That's got to make a little bit of difference and maybe try to pull off that upset next week at your home place.
Yeah, I mean, we're always glad to play at home. We play at home, you know, all as much as we can, but I think it helps a little bit. You still got to go out and beat the good teams. Cobham's a very good team. We played them twice this year. They beat us 3-1, and then I think 8-1 the second time at third place. So, we got to beat Trico first. Trico's a really good team. They've struggled like us. I mean, they've had their ups and downs too, but it's going to be a good ball game with them because at times they look good too. So.
I'm looking at the Black Diamond this year. Chester's a 1 seed in their regional. Carmi's a 1 seed in their regional. CRC is like a 3 seed at the Benton regional. I mean, these are all teams that have had very good seasons. It seems to me the Black Diamond may be unheard of, unheralded, but this year's starting to make a name for themselves as far as baseball is concerned.
Yeah, the Black Diamond, I think we come into, this is our third year here. We love it. I mean, we left the SEC, for some reasons, but the football being the main one, but the Black Diamond's been great. I mean, it's from top to bottom. It's good competition. You mentioned them 3 teams. Johnson City's in there, too, and they got a chance to win regional this year, too. I think your top 6 teams in there, even Alvarado, in our regional, they got a chance to win it. They got a really good pitcher, and it's an L kid, and, he throws the ball well. Tim Davis does a good job there. From top to bottom, the Black Diamond is pretty solid.
You mentioned the move to the Black Diamond. You were one of the few schools left in Southern Illinois 3 years ago that played fall baseball. How is not having a fall schedule, and you may still have, but how does not having a regular, typical fall schedule helped or hurt your program as far as spring goes?
Well, it definitely helps to play some fall baseball because going into the spring already where your team's at and who's in what position. We went to state in 2010 and 2011. And that fall definitely helped us, because we were 2 weeks ahead of everybody else going into the spring, I thought. And especially this year, not having fall, it really hurt us because young kids, they're learning all the time. And like I said, but fall is definitely an advantage, I will say that.
When waking up today, do you have any games today or what you got on the agenda?
No, not today. Like I said, we played the last 2 days. We had the tarp on, so we got 2 games in this week, more than probably some schools, and then we'll get Mondays in. But this weekend, going to Washington Braves and the Cardinals, me and the White Bars today and tomorrow. Got a buddy that plays for Atlanta Braves, so I was excited to go up there and maybe see him.
Oh, nice deal. Well, before we let you go and get on your weekend, we got to ask you our final question, our social media question of the week. And this week's question is, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
Oh, definitely ice cream.
Oh, what kind?
I'm a Rocky Road man.
Oh.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
That's outside the box. Coach, we know you're a busy man. I know you're getting ready to go take in some good baseball. We wish the Goreville Black Cats the best of luck this postseason, and certainly thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Guys, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Sean Tripp, head coach of the Goreville Black Cats baseball team, and not looking to start that argument. Maybe the wiser of the 2 trips, at least in this season.
Yeah.
We're always glad to be able to talk to those 2. Here on the Saturday Sports. So we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Runnin' Rams track and field. We'll talk with Clint Turner, head coach of the Runnin' Rams, and talk about how his team has done to this point of this season. We've had him on before, but getting an update, especially after a second-place finish in the South 7 for a 9th consecutive year. And when you take in consideration the Cahokia Comanches have won it for however many of the past, probably almost every year they've been in it, but there was a year that they were knocked off. But we'll talk about that with Clint Turner. He is the head coach of Runnin' Rams Track and Field. Coming up on the Saturday Sports Show, presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
I'm Jeremy Pearson with a look at your next rad weather. It will be partly sunny and cool throughout today, high 62, mainly clear tonight. It will be chilly, low 37 in the countryside to 42 in town. Mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a milder afternoon, high 69. And Monday, sunshine will be followed by increased clouds, high 76. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
How can we keep the people we love safe and secure in their own home? Let the Medicine Shop's home medical equipment team help you with all your mobility and specialty product needs. They provide mobility products like motorized scooters, wheelchairs, and home stair lifts. The Medicine Shop's expertly trained staff can also provide car and van lift installations, and they offer a full service repair facility for medical equipment, whether you purchased it from them or somewhere else. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black.
We service a 60-mile radius area, so a pretty wide area. We service orders from several area hospitals, and we have the staff in place that really sets us apart. We have 3 respiratory therapists and 2 seating specialists to help with seating on wheelchair and power chair needs. And we just feel that we have the staff and the warehousing and the facilities in place to really set us apart from any of our competitors in the area.
The Medicine Shop Pharmacy, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals.
Pekin Insurance.
Welcome back, Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. It's cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
There you go. Let's try it again. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Avery, your salutations are lacking with how you greet your former educators.
Yeah, that's
and then
exactly
you forget
right.
to turn Danny's mic on. You're not batting 1,000 today. You're still my guy, though, as we talk Mount Vernon Running Rams track and field with Clint Turner. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
You know what? Doing pretty good. And I think some people may see the second-place finish in the South 7 and may not understand how big of a finish that is. It's a tough conference, and second place is almost like winning it when you have Cahokia involved.
Yeah, I don't know how you look at that. You don't just lay down and lay the trophy over to Cahokia, and we tell our kids that. And Cahokia knows they can't just come into the meet and go through the motions, and they know they got a battle. And they didn't win a lot of events. I mean, all the teams have their winners and conference champs. We had 5 different events, conference champs. But, they're just so deep to where they can not just score you with 1, they score you with 2 in each event. So,
well, and of course,
that's where they get you.
Exactly. And with the Running Rams, you win the prestigious Ram relays last week and then go into a great finish in the conference meet. It certainly seems like things are going well for Running Rams track and field right now, getting ready to head into the sectional.
We come out of the meet last night, and that's what we talked to the guys about when we got on the bus. That we did about as much and about as what we could do with what we had. We had a couple good surprises. You always seem to have somebody, there's always a hiccup or 2 here or there, and we really didn't have that. Our guys stepped up, did a real good job, and we were pleased. And going into the sectional, you want to be healthy, which I think we are. We're just maybe a little soreness or tightness, but other than that, I think we're ready to go and have a good day and see how many guys we can get to the state meet.
Looking at yesterday from the sectional, you talk about going up against Cahokia, and you get a feel. How important is that to kind of get a feel of what you're going to have to go against as far as next week and the state is concerned when you get to run against Cahokia? On what is a pretty consistent basis?
Well, you go in with a game plan a little different in the sectional. We go into the conference meet trying to score as many points as possible. I mean, you double guys up, triple guys up. Obviously, they're not fresh going into their second and third race. And at the sectional, we're more concerned with getting guys to the state meet. So you may not run them. Like Dave Moddert won't run the 2 mile before he runs the mile. So that's going to help, obviously, his performance in the mile. And most of our distance runners are going to work that way. They'll just run the 1 race. It's kind of putting all your eggs in one basket, but those are the, so to speak, what you got to deal, and that's what we'll do. Our sprint crew is doing real well. Robert Greider won the 100 and the 200 last night. And I was interested to see how he would run because he did not have a real good meet over at Collinsville. A kid from Carbondale had beat him, and he came back and soundly beat that kid from Carbondale last night and looked really good. So we're pleased there. And our sprint relays, all of our relays were second last night to Cahokia. We beat Centralia in a couple of relays where they have. We've only beat them, I think, once in the 4x1, and we were able to get ahead of them last night. So, even those relays are looking to qualify, and we'll just see how it goes. Went well last night.
I love that you mentioned, the planning of a sectional meet, because I think people don't understand outside of track that there's a little bit of planning and plotting that goes on compared to a regular season meet, compared to yesterday, compared to a sectional. Talk about the planning and strategy, like you said, to get people in certain events, to get a number of people to Charleston. There's all kinds of things that you have to deal with as a coach and a staff to plot your way through things.
Yeah, it's not, and track is not the sport that everybody really has a lot of experience with or understands. And for me as a coach, that's the fun part going into meets, whether it's a triangular with Marion and Centralia and Salem, those kind of, just local races. You go into those meets and you go in to win, and you can't just kill people and throw them in a bunch of events. You got to be smart with what you're doing, or your kids will go backwards. And we try to work really hard at keeping kids fresh, working them just enough to where they get better, and try at this point in the year, like we said, be healthy, and be ready to go for when it really counts, conference meets, sectionals, and go that direction with them. And it's tough because and you got to get the kids bought into that too. And we spend a lot of time talking with our kids and telling them why they're doing what they're doing. They may have a meet, and they look at you like, why am I running this? I haven't ran this week or this year at all. Why am I running it this week? And when they understand why they're doing things, it helps. It really does help, and they buy into what's going on. And it's worked for us the last 4 or 5 years, and we've had good kids. I mean, when you got talent, it really helps. And we've had a lot of good, talented kids, and it's fun to coach them.
That's what I want to talk about, too, is, you mentioned a strategy, and sometimes you have to, I've talked to Andy Salone at Benton about this, and his track coach, about how he goes and everything, and Rod Schertz and other track coaches. When you get to this time of year, you've got seniors, they're out of school, graduation's next weekend, and then you walk up to them and say, hey, or walk up to guys and guys that say, run this or thrown this or whatever, and say, you know what, this week in the section will help the team out. I need you to do this and not your favorite event. I know you're a senior, but that's got to be a very tough conversation to introduce, go through, and deal with if you don't have the right mix of things going on, right?
And you try those kind of things. Hopefully you've got them situated maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, to where if you've got to turn some kids around to a different direction in what they're doing. We like to go into the sectional, and you've got a qualifying mark that you have to hit or run, and we like to go in there having already run that qualifying mark. That is huge for a kid's psyche. If they know they have done what they have to do, not that they can't do it, going in there and running their best time and running the qualifying mark, even though they haven't done it. I mean, that happens too. But, boy, if you can get them set up to where they actually hit the marks, it helps them a bunch. And we have a couple of meets where that's all we do. We don't worry about scoring a lot of points. We go over to Edwardsville and running a big 20-some-odd team invite over there. So we're not going to be able to win that meet as a team. We don't try to. We just put our kids in places to where they can get some really good times, running really good competition that simulates sectional and hopefully the prelims of state and the state finals. And I feel really good right now going into to the sectional because we've been able to do those things.
See, I love that because, I love the strategy
Yes.
that you've just, the last 3 or 4 minutes, if someone didn't know about track, the way you've strategized, how you go about things, start to finish, this meet compared to this meet, that's an amazing thing you've just described in the last 4 minutes or 5.
Well,
I love that.
As compared to a game,
Right.
and every game has a little different strategy. You know, I've coached football and other sports. Track, what I really love about it, your season plays into the whole season. What we start doing maybe in January and February is going into what we're getting ready to do here in May. And a meet we run in early March plays into what we're going to do in May. It is so neat to go back to a kid and you say, now, you remember what we did at this meet? Remember how well that went for you? Well, let's do it again. That's the kind of approach we want to go to. Just different little things like that. You get your relays set, especially like 4x1. I mean, they've got to be so in tune with each other. I mean, I graduated high school a long time ago, but I can still remember leading off the 4x1, and I can see it in my mind's eye, handing off to Brian Fox. I mean, I just knew how it was going to be. I knew where his hand was going to be. We were so in tune. It was there. And that's what you do. We set those relays early, and those guys almost can do it with their eyes closed. That's just, they know each other. And we're not super fast. I mean, we got Robert, and it's like, hey, get the baton around, and we're getting it around at a really, really efficient manner right now. And it's helping us big time. And getting it to Robert, and he can track some people down on the anchor leg.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Coach, obviously we're going to go a little bit differently here now with our WMIX Sports social media question. And this week we want to know, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert? And you can't say Mountain Dew.
That's during dinner. After dinner dessert. Boy, whatever's on the menu. Boy, kind of depends where I go, I think. But I'm good on some kind of chocolate cake or brownie with some ice cream, something like that.
Brownies are good after dinner.
Yeah, something with a little, it's bad for you kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, that's the whole point of after dinner dessert, is for it to be bad for you, though. But, Coach, we know you have a big week coming up with the Heron Sectional, I believe, scheduled for Thursday. Wishing the Runnin' Rams the best of luck. It's been a great season, of course, as we've watched you progress over the course of 2014, and looking forward to reading about many state qualifiers this coming week.
Yeah, I hope so, guys. Appreciate all you guys and what you guys do covering the Rams and letting us come on during the year. Appreciate it.
We appreciate it, Coach. That's Coach Clint Turner, Mount Vernon Running Rams track and field, and a good dude, and fun to watch how successful these guys have been under his tutelage since he has been at the helm at Mount Vernon Township High School. Of course, the alum of the institution, and comes back, does a wonderful job with the Runnin' Rams track and field team, and you take a look at everything that he's been able to accomplish, and especially, and not trying to make too big of a deal, of course, about Cahokia being in the conference, but that's just kind of a bird of a different feather when you take a look at the other teams in the South 7.
That's sometimes a bird you can't catch either, because they just do some things totally different. And when you run against them, you get an idea where you are at, where you need to be. And right now, Mount Vernon's got a great idea. 9 second-place finishes in that conference meet behind the 10 in a row that Cahokia has won. Of course, Cahokia's won 3 straight state titles. So, just happen to be in the wrong place, wrong time, geographically speaking, conference-wise, and you just have to deal with it and try to compete the best you can.
That you do. And, of course, we have plenty more to talk about on the Saturday Sports Show here until 10 o'clock. We'll talk with Jeffrey Drake. He is the voice of the Harrisburg Bulldogs on sister station WEBQ. We'll talk with Jeffrey when we come back here on the Saturday Sports Show, cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
We're back after these.
This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Wilt. I want to thank Mount Vernon and the surrounding area for continuing to support us over the past 5 years. If you have never sat down with someone to go over your insurance program, let me invite you into our office. Let us show you what working with the industry leader, represented by a local agent, can do for you. I'm located just off 42nd Street. You can reach our office 24 hours a day at 242-1421 or on the web at tonywilt.com. Thanks again, and go Rams.
Raise your hand if you're tired of showing up for a service appointment only to sit around a waiting room. Hi, Roy Schmidt, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer at King City Chrysler Center. Our express lane fast oil changes and more provide quick, convenient service with no appointment needed. Our specialists are on hand to wait on you with lanes dedicated just for your oil changes, tire rotation, brake inspections, batteries, bulbs, wiper blades, air filter replacements, and more. We will also perform complimentary vehicle inspection with every oil change. We work around your schedule, open weekdays from 7:30 until 5 and Saturdays from 8 a.m. until noon. See Express Lane Fast Oil Changes and more for all of your service needs, and we will get you back on the road quick. We're located at King City Chrysler Center at 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Just another reason you can count on us.
Saturday Sports Show brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospitals, more than hospitals, what healthcare should be. Denny Swerwinski with Chris Hugo now entering the room, and joining us now is the voice of Harrisburg Athletics on sister station WEBQ, Mr. Jeffrey Drake. Now, Mr. Drake, how are you, and what kind of baseball games, if any, do you have going on today?
Good morning, gentlemen. Harrisburg off today. I think softball got a couple of games this morning, and they've got another 20-win season. And what is Red Stafford to the last year? I know you guys are good friends with Harrisburg girls basketball coach Jake Stewart, who is assistant softball coach. But Jay Thompson's team is off today. Jay's son Kirk is graduating from medical school up in Springfield, and then I think Jay is a commencement speaker. He's retiring from teaching, so he is the headline speaker at Harrisburg High School's graduation later tonight. So no Bulldog baseball today, but I'll be more than happy to spend some time with you and talk about Bulldog baseball.
I want to touch first on softball. I mean, first basketball, the Harrisburg Lady Bulldogs have a great season. And then, of course, softball starting to roll as well, a 2-seed at the Harrisburg Regional. I mean, this has been quite a turnaround for Lady Bulldogs athletics in the last couple of years.
Yeah, basketball, especially with Jake Stewart, he's certainly got things going there. They've got a good senior class. They got a good sophomore class that'll be coming back next year. I think their junior high program is good as well. Softball, a lot of multiple-year starters. Hammond Jones, their number one pitchers, going to UT Martin to play softball. They've got a good freshman class. I think when baseball and softball started going to the super sectional format, Harrisburg and softball appeared in the super, I think, 3 straight years. One year they went up to the state quarterfinals, lost to Stanford Olympia. So they've had some success in the past, but it's good to see them getting back over 20 wins and putting together another strong year.
I'm looking at the Harrisburg baseball team. You mentioned Jay Thompson retiring as a teacher and whatnot. Will this be his final year as baseball coach, or is he looking to hang on in that aspect for Harrisburg High School?
I don't know if anything's really been decided yet. I think he'd probably like to enjoy coming back if things could work out. Of course, he's kind of approaching 700 wins. He's such a great baseball mind and just a good mentor to everybody. So, you know what, we'll see how this season wraps up, but I think the baseball's in his blood, and I think that maybe something can work out for Jay.
Looking at the Carterville Regional, Chris and I have talked about this regional a lot, and in the last few years, it's seemed like Harrisburg, Murphy, Carterville, AJ, just about when you think you've got somebody figured out and favored in the last 5 to 6 years, somebody has snuck up and into somebody's dream year. Is that how this kind of grouping has been in your eyes as far as the regional is concerned?
Yeah, it's interesting because the last couple of years, Harrisburg's gone the other way. The last 2 years, they played in sectionals at Robinson and T-Town, but then this year they go back and play in a regional at Carterville. And if they can get out of that, they're playing in their own sectional at home at Doris Heights, and that would be something to look forward to if you're Harrisburg. Harrisburg's won 4 straight regionals. They've won 12 out of the last 13 regionals, and I think it's pretty wide open this year at Carterville. Looking at the teams they could play, either Carterville or Massac in the semifinals. They swept Massac in the regular season, beat Carterville at Harrisburg a couple of weeks ago. Haven't played Vienna, but Vienna's a team that has lost to Harrisburg in the regional finals the last couple of years, so they're going another way too. AJ Harrisburg stood with them, lost against Vaughn early in the season, then beat the Wildcats by 7 runs in Harrisburg earlier this week. Then swept Murfreesboro, won a 1-run game in Jackson County, and then Harrisburg played well a week ago today and shut out Murfreesboro in 5 innings and Mills pitch. So I do think it's really wide open. Harrisburg's been very streaky this year, guys. They come in at 17-11 as of today, and they won 5 straight. Before that, they lost 6 straight. Before that, they won 5 straight. So it's really weird. They can, when they field the ball well, they can put a few timely hits together. It seems like it works out. But they've had some real forgettable games too this year. It's a weird season to try to figure out.
In a town that loves baseball as much as Harrisburg does, is it hard to have a season up and down like this with all the expectations on Harrisburg baseball to do what they should do or want to do every year?
You mentioned the tradition, talked about the 12 out of 13 years, won in a regional, and the only other year, I think it was like 6 years ago, they lost a regional. It was at Carterville against AJ when they were upset. They won 30 games a year ago, 28 the year before that. I think Jay's won over 30 games 5 or 6 times. He's won over 20 games, 25, 26 of his 30-plus years, never had a losing record. So, you know, there was a point this year they were kind of hovering around 500, and you had to wonder, but of course with no Roper on the roster for the first time in 7 or 8 years, that makes a difference. But it's a testament to this team to, you know, win 17 games or 6 games above 500. And, you know, it's a little bit different because when Harrisburg was going to the state tournament, there was a streak where they won 40 straight conference games. I think they still won 72 out of their last 80 conference games, but, you know, 4 of those losses came this year. So they've had some ups and downs, but, you know, a lot of teams would take being 6 games over 500 and being the top seed in the region, and let's see how it works out next week.
You've done a lot of baseball games this year covering the Harrisburg Bulldogs. Is there a team that the Bulldogs have played this year that's kind of stood out to you as a team that may make some noise here in the next few weeks?
I really think it's wide open, guys. I was a little surprised, honestly, when it came out in Harrisburg. It was a game over 500 at the time when they were the top seed in the Carterville Regional. I know that the matchups kind of work out Harrisburg pitching-wise. If they can avoid either Wills from Murphy or Vaughn from AJ, they might have to play in the semifinals, and maybe they burn up those guys. But I think it's wide open. I know Nashville, Harrisburg not played them. They wouldn't play them until a sectional final, and that's a long way down the road. But I think baseball's maybe a little down this year in terms of everything. Frankfurt's played really well the 2 times they beat Harrisburg. I think Frankfurt won a baseball conference championship for the first time since the early 90s. Harrisburg split with Benton. They split with Heron. They've had a lot of close games, and I think it comes down to you just making the routine plays. If you get good pitching and you get a couple of timely hits, baseball's a game in the postseason, especially unlike any others where, you know, you could see some upsets. It just takes a bad day and your season's done. And hopefully that doesn't happen if you're a Harrisburg fan.
In this time of year, you know, and we were talking with some other coaches earlier in the show, you have, you know, end of the year, graduation, seniors get out early compared to all the other students. It's hard to keep coaches focused. And now you mentioned a 2A is such a balanced mix. I mean, you throw in the fact that, you know, Nashville and Althoff are in the same regional. Harrisburg, Murphy are in the same regional with AJ. I mean, like you said, it is a true toss-up. And out of those 2 regionals, it may be neither one of those 2 regionals actually send somebody up north to state.
Yeah, you're right. I think I go back a couple years ago when DuQuoin, they played AJ in a super sectional, and DuQuoin ended up going to the state semifinals, and DuQuoin had a losing record out of the gate. They come back, and they're a few games over 500, and they play a team in their own conference in the super, just how the pairings worked out. But with all the distractions and all the rainouts this spring, it's been hard to get any kind of traction. It's like Harrisburg had a game Monday against Anna. They played through a few showers, but got that in. They were supposed to play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even yesterday, but none of that happened. They've had honors nights. They've had baccalaureate this week. I know it's the same a lot of other places. When they have graduation tonight, they do have a game they scheduled at Christopher next Tuesday, but just to try to get some work in before they open up next Wednesday against either Carterville or Massac in the regional semis. But, you know, this is the time of year where you try to hope that your kids aren't burnt out and trying to get that flavor for the summer, because I'm sure a lot of kids are having trouble keeping their focus, and that's something that, you know, other sports maybe don't have to deal with at the end of the school year, how it falls.
Well, and that's one of the things, you know, as far as Harrisburg baseball goes, with, you know, winning 4 regionals in a row, 12 out of 13. Does it matter? I think with kids, they don't want to be that group that breaks a streak. Is that the case this year, obviously?
Yeah, I think there is that kind of pressure, and we talked about winning the conference championship last year, and they've had a lot of success. But, you know, it didn't work out this year. They had a couple of games that they kind of let slip through their fingers. Frankfurt won it with a 7-3 record, and like I said, Frankfurt had a 10-run rule Harrisburg once, and almost 10-run run again the second time. So I think it could be interesting to see how that Benton regional shakes out. I think that Nashville regional you talk about is absolutely loaded. Chester's a top seed in their own regional, and that's who the Carterville regional winner would play. Harrisburg split a doubleheader at DuQuoin if they were to see them again. But, it's all about pitching matchups, and if it doesn't rain, and who's fielding the ball well, and who can make a routine play, and that's something about postseason baseball. I mean, you guys rolled the wave last year with Mount Vernon in Class 3A and going all the way to Joliet. You know how you can get hot in the postseason, and then you can end up going a long way.
Well, you mentioned a couple of regionals. The Chester regional, to me, has Chester done enough in the diamond schedule-wise to maybe it can DuQuoin go over there with their pitching and beat them? And in the Benton regional, I know Frankfort's a 1, but they're very beatable. Benton's got them once this year, if not twice, and in ZRC. I mean, those right there are two regionals where the top 1 or 2 teams may not even get out because of upsets. I mean, that's the balance out of those two regionals as well.
I agree. Harrisburg, a couple of weeks ago, played a game at Johnson City, and there's another Black Diamond team that's a 4 seed in that regional that's won over 20 games. And Frankfort, they played really well this year. Benton's going to be tough to beat. They've always fielding with the pitching, but the ZRC's at the top of their rotation. How that would work out. But I'm like you. I don't think it's not like in years past where maybe an AJ or a Harrisburg or DuQuoin or somebody like that is kind of head over heels. Benton a couple of years ago with the Leftlers and everybody is that much better. It's just who's going to get hot and who's going to capitalize. And that's the thing. Harrisburg, they're averaging 3 or 4 errors a game. And you do that, you're not going to give yourself a chance to win that many games. On this winning streak, you're fielding the ball well, and that's really what it takes. I know it's the little things, and maybe it's not all that flashy, but if you make the routine plays and you get good pitching, it seems to work out for you a lot of the time, and that's what these teams will be hoping for, I'm sure, next week.
Well, being a food guy, we know that you are. Our social media question of the week we wrap up with involves food, and this week's question is, what is your favorite after-dinner dessert?
I would probably go with cheesecake. My grandma actually had her over for Mother's Day last weekend, and she fixed the cheesecake. She brought the dessert. She always likes to bring me a cheesecake, so I'm a big cheesecake guy, actually.
That's okay. Any particular kind of cheesecake, or are you just a plain cheesecake?
Plain cheesecake. Don't really eat the crust. I'm more the pudding filling type guy. I know that's a little different, but don't have to have any kind of toppings either. I just like the regular cheesecake.
Oh, well, that's not bad. Those are all very good.
Yeah. I can't complain about it. I like ice cream, too, but I would put cheesecake above that.
Okay. Well, Jeffrey, thanks for joining us today. We know you got an off day. Well, not off. You got to graduation night at Harrisburg High School, but an off day, and enjoy your weekend. And, of course, good luck to you and the Harrisburg Bulldogs next week.
I appreciate it, guys. I know it's a big weekend with the Braves in St. Louis for both of your families, and hope you have a good weekend.
Yeah, thank you. That's Jeffrey Drake, voice of Harrisburg Bulldogs, and our sister station, WBQ. Bulldogs will play in a regional at Carterville this week, a 2 seed. Actually, a 1 seed. Baseball's a 1 seed. Softball is a 2 seed. And, of course, IHSA.org has all that information for you as far as all the seedings and pairings for 1A through 4A baseball and softball. We need to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about some pairings coming up, some other high school sports topics and note here on the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX.
Hi, this is Joe David Cummins, President of Community First Bank. By now you have heard about our new One Checking product. The new One Account is a high-interest earning, free checking account designed for everyone. Unlike other banks that pay interest on higher balance, this account pays interest on all balances. From high schoolers to Warren Buffett, One will work for you. You can talk to one of us at 244-3000 and learn about the details. One, exclusively at Community First Bank. You will be one happy customer. Member FDIC.
Whether it's Mother Nature's inability to decide on a season, a weekend that got a little out of hand, or just life, there's always something looking to damage your vehicle. This is Chase Landers from Landers Collision Centers. Maybe winter weather turned your full-size sedan into a compact, or a little hail has your truck looking like Swiss cheese. Perhaps a deer decided to go for a ride on your hood, or maybe your truck is missing its hitch and bumper after pulling your little brother out of the ditch last weekend. Did a bad breakup leave a little graffiti on your SUV? We hope not, but we've seen it all, and we certainly don't judge. Whatever mess life has created for your vehicle, we'll clean it up. As a direct repair facility for many insurance companies, we take care of just about everything, even getting you into a temporary vehicle while we restore yours. That's the Landers difference. Top to bottom, big or small, Landers fixes them all. Come see us in Mount Vernon and Salem and ask us about free detailing for the life of your vehicle. Or call 1-888-LANDERS. That's 1-888-LANDERS.
Mount Vernon is home to many wonderful people and things, and that includes quality cardiac care from Dr. Ruzaik Ibrahim. A skilled cardiologist, Dr. Ibrahim's training and scientific accomplishments have earned his designation as a Fellow of the American College of Cardiology. His services range from preventative care to the treatment of advanced heart conditions. For an appointment with Dr. Ibrahim at Crossroads Specialty Clinic, call 241-9071 or visit in person at 4113 South Water Tower, Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon Rams baseball and Lady Rams softball have hit the season's homestretch, and WMIX Sports continues to bring you the action. Hi, this is Joanne Joy, Senior Vice President from Community First Bank of the Heartland. We're proud to team with WMIX Sports to bring you every pitch of Rams baseball and a better selection of Lady Rams softball on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com. Don't miss a moment of the action with the Rams and the Lady Rams from WMIX Sports, powered by Community First Bank of the Heartland. Welcome back to Personal
Mount
Banking.
Vernon Township High School graduation is Saturday, May 24th. Will you be stuck at work, out of town? What if it rains and you can't get tickets? WMIX has great news. You can watch the commencement ceremony online. Log on to WMIX94.com and watch the live video stream from your computer or smartphone. Watch the MVTHS Class of 2014 graduate May 24th at 8 p.m. on WMIX94.com, powered by Rinley College. See which degree or certificate program is right for you at RLC.edu.
High school sports are back, and your source for scores is WMIXsports.com. Also, find archived local sports broadcasts, video highlights, national sports headlines, and more right at your fingertips. Listen and watch live WMIX sports broadcasts from your desktop or any mobile device. Need a score? Want to see a sick dunk? Miss a game? Didn't get up in time for the Saturday sports show? That's right, it's all at WMIXsports.com. Another free service from Withers Broadcasting. WMIXsports.com.
I'm Jeremy Pearson with a look at your next rad weather. It will be partly sunny and cool throughout today, high 62, mainly clear tonight. It will be chilly, low 37 in the countryside to 42 in town. Mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a milder afternoon, high 69, and Monday sunshine will be followed by increased clouds, high 76. Next rad weather from WMIX, Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Welcome back, WMIX Saturday Sports Show. Cared for by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
So glad you could join us this morning as we're taking you up until the 10 o'clock hour here on AM 940. And, of course, as always, at WMIXsports.com. We hope you enjoyed our lineup to this point. Jeffrey Drake, we just wrapped up with the voice of the Harrisburg Bulldogs on WEBQ, but also the news director of sister stations WQRL, WMCL, and W.I.S. H. WISH FM, our sister station, as well. So we hope you enjoyed him as well as the rest of our lineup today. But so much getting ready to happen. We talked in our preface of our guests earlier about some of the track sectionals that happened. Carterville winning the girls sectional in 1A yesterday. Chester won a 1A girls sectional yesterday. You can find all these scores and more at WMIXsports.com on our scoreboard. We had a lot of track last night with a lot of the sectionals. We try to stay up to date with everything that is going on our WMIXsports.com scoreboard. But also a 3A sectional yesterday at Rock Island, won by the O'Fallon Lady Panthers. Edwardsville finished in third place. East St. Louis was all the way back and forth up at Rock Island in the 3A sectional. But you take a look, all the Metro Easters over there in terms of the 3A schools, because where else are they going to go? They have to go to Rock Island. And we talked about this, and you made kind of a comment about how the classes need to be redone in track and field. And I am in complete agreement with you. And, you take a look at schools. Well, we'll take a look at the Heron sectional alone. Just in this case, you have the Mount Vernons running with the Cahokias. That's to be expected. Same conference, but you have the Bentons in there, and is that really fair to a school that's kind of on the bordering line? But then again, so many years they benefited being the top dog in the old system. So I mean, where's the stand to be taken? I mean, I don't know what the answer is to this.
I don't know what the answer is either. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think 3-class track is not the answer. I think I'm not sure if going back to 2 classes in track would be the best thing to do to make, East St. Louis and O'Fallon traveling to Rock Island for a track sectional is absurd. They will travel farther to a track sectional than they will to state. I don't know. I mean, to me, they either got to go back to 2 or they got to go to 4 classes and figure out how to do it. And, maybe run and cut down on some things so they could get a 4-class track meet in 2 days at 3 days at Charleston. Maybe they got to do that. Maybe they'll revamp the system where they can get 4 classes in or have 2 classes and go back to the way it was. I know a lot of track enthusiasts who have gone up to Charleston and who have competed and coached would love to see 2 classes again.
Exactly, and it's hard to fault them for that, especially with the way the 3 classes end. I think that things were kind of okay there when they went to 3 classes. It was the even distribution that started to kind of mess with everything, and now you take a look at this even distribution and the 4 classes and how that's worked, and the multiplication waiver on top of all that, Danny, and now you have an issue where you don't necessarily know, especially in 4 classes, who's necessarily going to be class to class from year to year.
And that hurts because you don't know how to set up your schedule to compete, and that doesn't help you at all. I mean, and again, tracks here, that's the forefront. I think of the 2 things that need to be fixed, I think football is going to be the next. To me, my prediction is football is the next thing that needs to be fixed scheduling-wise and getting games for people. And I think track is the next thing on the hotbed that needs to be not fixed, maybe tweaked. And I think both football and track are pretty good, but they need to be tweaked a little bit to kind of make things easier for schools. And like I said, I think football needs to have a scheduling system where everybody can get games, big or small, winning or losing. Everybody can play each other or something. Play games, get games easier, and I think track needs to be tweaked to either a 2-class or a 4-class. And again, if you go to 4-class, maybe set up different requirements to get there, different things to set up at sectionals that, whatever. Maybe you could have a super sectional track meet somewhere where you could have the super sectional meet, then the state meet where you could have everybody meet, and then whoever gets out there gets to Charleston, they compete Friday and Saturday. 1A in the morning, 2A in the afternoon, 3A in the morning, 4A in the afternoon. Maybe something like that.
Sure. There's an answer in there somewhere. I mean, there definitely is. And I have to get that's the thing. I need to get to Charleston to see state finals.
I came close.
Well, that's something I would like to do eventually. But thankfully, the thing that usually prohibits that from happening for me is the successes of our spring teams that we cover, and I wouldn't trade that for anything and in to broadcast those games. But, 1 year definitely will have to take a peek at the state track finals in Charleston. Of course, the Rams are going to have a big week at the Heron Sectional coming up on Thursday. And, they're running well right now. We talked to Clint Turner earlier. But taking a look at some of our other peripheral here for spring success and some of these regionals that get started this coming week. And, we talked at length about baseball last week, thinking about a lot of time talking about softball. But, taking a look at 1A and 2A, it's tough for them because there's so many now looking to get some games in right before their regionals start because of all the rainouts this week. Rain and cold weather came at a bad time.
I think rain and cold weather came at the perfect week because you'd rather have it this past week than to have to deal with it this week, which pushes you into sectional games on Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever the case may be. I think if you get it the last week, they would stay in the rain last week rather than have to push back and whatever else because you want everything right for regional sectional week. This week's weather looks pretty good for regionals in 1A and 2A this week, and 3A, 4A getting their games in as well.
Exactly, and final week of 3A and 4A regular season, but really when you look at it, and that's a great perspective. I didn't really stop to think of it that way. It's better to have it before as opposed to during or after. Because, the Lady Rams last year are a prime example of what happens when you have nasty weather the week of a regional. The forecast was pretty sour for Thursday and maybe into Friday. Luckily, none of that ever happened. But their game had to be rain-shortened because of a lengthy cell that just hovered over Williamson County last year. It rained for about, I think, what do we have, like a 2-hour delay before it was finally called because there was more rain on the horizon and more lightning, and the field was a mess. But, there were lights and everything, but they just could not wait it out that long. So you'd rather have it now and then not have it in the postseason because you'd hate to have your season end that way.
Yeah, you don't want to stop in the 5th, but that's the way it was. The rain wasn't going anywhere. The field was in no shape to play. You're not going to be able get that field there. And, of course, Mount Vernon will head back there in a week or so, 2 weeks, to try to change the course of events, try to do something a little different, try to do whatever to try to get back at Carbondale. You know, of course, Lance Bolt said earlier in the show that their games against Carbondale this year may have been their 2 worst games they played. Of course, in their mind, Mount Vernon would like to change that and of course, try to get a win. And I think a Mount Vernon team that's a very dangerous 4 seed in that tournament, that regional down at Heron. I think they're just a team that you got to be really careful with if you're an opponent, not to get them going or started, give them any momentum.
Exactly, and momentum can be a crazy thing this time of year as we head into the postseason this coming week. 1A and 2A boys baseball and girls softball will start. Next week will be 3A baseball and 4A baseball and softball. Of course, 3A, both genders, both classes, but curious to see what happens. Of course, the seedings were released this week. The Mount Vernon Regional has the number 1 Centralia Orphans, the number 2 Marion Wildcats. The Mount Vernon Rams are number 3. 4 is the Carbondale Terriers. 5 the Heron Tigers. It'll be Memorial Day matchup between number 5 Heron at number 4 Carbondale. That game not in Mount Vernon. It is at Carbondale at the higher seed, which is something I am not a fan of, but for whatever reason, that's what they do. You take a look at the Heron Regional for the Lady Rams. Just 4 teams, no Centralia in this one. It's 1 Carbondale, 2 Heron, 3 Marion, and 4 Mount Vernon. And you take a look at Salem Regional, the Centralia Annies, of course, got the number 1 seed, which brings me to this. Things going rather well right now. The Orphans in a case to possibly take a co-conference championship if they can happen and knock off the Mount Vernon Rams this week. Altsoff, of course, I believe finished at 8-2 in the South 7 Conference. That's what the Orphans are looking for. But I don't recall a time that both the Orphans and the Annies were a 1 seed in their respective regionals at the same time since we have been doing spring sports on WMIX. It's been quite some time. Things going rather well for them this season.
Things have been going well, and Althoff, stubbed their toe. And then that allowed Centralia to have the open door, and, of course, that's why the game has to be played Wednesday to get it in based on conference. And if not, they wouldn't even have to play the game Wednesday, probably Mount Vernon Triad. But, the Orphans want to win this game Wednesday, knowing in the back of their mind they may have to turn around and beat Mount Vernon to get out of the regional again, depending on what happens.
And we'll talk more about 3A and 4A next week on the Saturday Sports Show. Rams, of course, will be at Highland. We'll make our trip up there next before we have the graduation on WMIX94.com and WMIXsports.com. That'll be next week, presented by Red Lake College. However, taking a look at that more closely, it's interesting to see how that seeding finally played out. You have the 3 seed having beaten the 1 seed. The 2 seed, however, has beaten the 3 seed twice. They split, if I'm not mistaken, or lost twice to the 1 seed, who was beaten by the 3 seed. 3 has beaten 4 twice. 4, I think, has split with 2. 5 lost to everybody. It's crazy how that all worked out.
Well, it's just called vote, throw the darts up, and see where they may. I think the most interesting matchup of the regional, and I think some people know this and some people do not or whatever, is the Heron at Carbondale baseball game. There's a lot of sidebars, side notes, and things that have gone along with that game this year, not once but twice. So Heron at Carbondale on Memorial Day might be a game, if you've got nothing to do, to slide down to Jackson County and take a peek, because some very interesting things have happened with those two teams. They had a nice little brawl the last time they played, and I'm not so certain. I mean, I hope nothing happens. They have to understand what's on the line. They don't want to get kicked out and miss a game for a regional semi, but that'll be a very interesting game to see if there's any shenanigans that go on there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You get that one game down there in Carbondale. That's the higher seed. That's why they're playing it there. This is the Mount Vernon Regional, just at Carbondale for a day. So
that shocks me. I don't understand why it's down there for a day.
This is how they're doing it. In 5-team regionals, they're playing the 5 at the 5 at the 4 or the 3 at the 6 and 6-team regionals. I don't understand that. I don't know if that's to help alleviate the burden of having to get a field ready that many days, but I don't. That's the whole point.
Well, it wouldn't matter because you're hosting anyway.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Is that you put in, because this isn't just the Mount Vernon regional. This is every single regional like this, and I don't get it.
I mean, maybe travel. I thought travel, but it's here in Carbondale, Mount Vernon. What does it matter? I mean, I just think if you have a regional, you should go to the site where the regional's at, unless there's some extenuating circumstances.
So who knows? I don't. Apparently, nobody does. So that's how it'll be. But we'll talk more about it next week. There'll be a new Mount Vernon Rams basketball coach named on Monday. We'll have the new coach next Saturday here on the Saturday Sports Show, whomever that may be. Find out with us on a Monday night, and we'll have it for you. We'll put it on Twitter at WMIX Sports. You can find us on Facebook as well. You can find our broadcast schedule updated at WMIXsports.com. We are updating it to show what we are doing this week, so it's already up to date. Find out that we have Rams baseball on Monday. Tuesday, it's Lady Rams softball on the road. Wednesday, it'll be Rams baseball. Thursday, it'll be Lady Rams softball, as is Friday. And then Saturday, we have Mount Vernon Rams baseball on the road at Highland with video streaming of the commencement exercises next Saturday night at 8 o'clock. WMIX94.com and WMIXsports.com. We appreciate you for listening today, finding us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for accessing our broadcast for WMIX Sports. For Danny Zawinski, for Avery Barton, I'm Chris Hugo, hoping that your week goes well. This is WMIX Mount Vernon, a free service from Withers Broadcasting.